In 1934, Will Hays and his office started using the Hays Code to censor Hollywood productions that seemed too vulgar. This ranges from violence to drug use to language to even sexuality. Ooh. While the Hays Code was not intended to block the depiction of homosexuality specifically, homosexuality fell under the umbrella term that was sexual content. I mean, obviously being gay was not rare in the showman world at the time. You're telling me that this man isn't gay? While not being targeted by the film studios, at least, queer filmmakers still struggled to find ways to express themselves in this Hays Code era. And this is why horror films, in my opinion, shaped the Hays Code era and illustrated the restraints it gave to creators at the time. Before the Hays Code, you could get away with some pretty erotic things. Notably, the film Blonde Venues depicts a prostitute, and another one of my favorite examples is a lost film section called Cleopatra, where you can see this woman in a very revealing attire. That's not why I like it, I just think it looks cool. It's not why I like it. Even though the point of this video is to show you how the code started this era of queer-coded films, there wasn't really much to start with, so I can't really compare the pre-code queer films and the post-code ones. It's not hard to figure out why. This era was very much not a safe space to be queer, and even if you were depicted in media, it probably was a negative thing. So I want to dive a little more into the post-code era now because that's the topic of this video, and also it's where things get a little more interesting for the queer community. Don't we love that? After the Hays Code was put into order, married couples had to start sleeping in separate beds. Along with a lot of things, and while that's not the most shocking thing to happen in this era, it does show the extent the code went to. You telling me I built this whole set for you and now we gotta go to the mattress store to buy 2 beds? You know what, I think that's pretty fair. I think these movies are getting too sexual. There needed to be very bold and obvious changes to how films were being made, and because of that, people who wanted to make things under these themes needed to start getting pretty creative, because we're gonna go through a lot of loopholes to get this out. This is where a shift in horror began. Because horror was already deemed evil and sinful, it was easier to hide other themes that people were scared of in the movie. Queer artists naturally started to gravitate towards horror, whether that's because the demonization of being gay made the writers relate to Frankenstein's creature being chased by a mob, or if it's because the Hays Code just made it harder for them to talk about these topics, so naturally they gravitated towards things that were already deemed evil. I think it's both, personally, but take writer Garrett Fort and the film Dracula's Daughter. This is usually the prime example people use when talking about closeted films or films with hidden gay undertones. Although, in my opinion, these undertones are not so hidden. In this film, our main character, Countess Mira Zaleska, struggles with her father Dracula's curse, or homosexual urges. Her solution to this, apart from burning her dad's body in the woods, it didn't work. It's not important. She goes to the psychiatrist. This can easily be paralleled to a lesbian's homosexual panic at the time, and their rush to the conclusion that it's a problem with their head. People back then, and some now, consider conversion therapy, and that is very clearly what this scene at the psychiatrist's office depicts. Similarly, there's a scene we watch our heroine lose a battle to her sexual urges, or bloodlust, and to hammer in this point, the victim of this attack was originally supposed to be nude in the original script. What do you think about that, William? Yeah, we're in the Hays Code era. You cannot do that. Our heroine does die in the end of this film, which is a pattern we can see in the next film I will bring attention to, The Catwoman of the Moon. While this film doesn't focus on a protagonist's internal conflict with her homosexual urges, it focuses on a very aged depiction of lesbians. After going to the moon, not important why, the main characters of the film discover a race of cat lesbian ladies that can mind control other women, and they're going to continue to do that until they control the mind of every woman. They die at the end, so sadly we won't be seeing what that would have looked like, but we could take a few conclusions away from this. Either A, screenwriter Roy Hamilton felt antagonized as a lesbian, which probably not, or that homosexual themes were so prominent in this time that even non-queer creators were depicting gay characters in the horror genre. One more point before our conclusion, I haven't mentioned gay men yet. No reason, I just didn't get around to it yet. This era was full of characters and films that embodied homosexual subtext, and while this happened to women characters I've mentioned, it wasn't as subtly negative. A lot of characters like Reinfeld, the Invisible Man, and Dr. Frankenstein, instead of being depicted as gay, were depicted as being kooky or silly, or or just dumb. This was a very obvious way to promote a mindset of gay men being pansies or silly, ergo, don't take them seriously. Even though this archetype existed before the Hays Code, most of these characters can be found in the Hays Code era of horror. So even if it's not solidified in fact that all of these characters were depicted as gay people, we can still say with confidence that the Hays Code started a film era of homosexual themes in horror. Whether that be evil lesbian cat aliens or a woman who's simply struggling with her urge to feed her natural desires, homosexual themes in horror thrived because of the Hays Code, and they perfectly defined and illustrated how the Hays Code changed cinema in its reign, shaping the era we talk about in film history classes today.